In St. Louis, before Major League Baseball or National Football League teams played in the downtown area, the games were played in the classic, distinguished ballpark on the north side of town at the corner of Grand Boulevard and Dodier Street, named Sportsman's Park. Before I get more into the history of the ballpark, make sure to click the like button if you appreciate sports stadium history like I do. And also click the subscribe button if you haven't already to get notified of my future uploads. So let's get into the history of the ballpark, but hang on. There were a lot of name changes, team relocations, and stadium rebuilds going on, so I'll try to break it down as clearly as I can. The earliest version of the ballpark on the site was built in the mid-1800s for St. Louis's first professional baseball team, the St. Louis Brown Stockings, or Browns, of the American Association. It was alternately called Sportsman's Park, Grand Avenue Ball Grounds, and Grand Avenue Park. After the American Association folded, the Browns became members of the rival National League in 1892. After their first season in the league, they moved to another stadium a few blocks northwest. This north location was originally named New Sportsman's Park, but an ownership change in 1899 brought a new name, League Park. The new ownership also eliminated the entire Browns theme by changing the team color from brown to cardinal red and adapting the new Cardinals nickname. But as this was happening, the Milwaukee Brewers of the newly formed American League, who were completely unrelated to the current-day Milwaukee Brewers, decided to relocate to St. Louis in 1902 to become the new St. Louis Browns and took up residence at the original Sportsman's Park site, where a new 8,000-seat wooden ballpark was built. The field was reoriented, and steel and concrete grandstands were added by 1909 to increase capacity to almost 18,000. And now back up north to the Cardinals. After repeated fires and rebuilding at what was now known as Robeson Field, the team moved back to Sportsman's Park as tenants of the Browns in the middle of the 1920 season. The old wooden Robeson Field was demolished, the site was sold to developers, and Beaumont High School was built on the site and opened in 1926. The school itself closed after the 2014 school year. The success of the Browns in the early 1920s motivated ownership to further expand Sportsman's Park to a capacity of over 30,000. But the Cardinals were the team that will win a World Series there first in 1926. Over the next 20 years, the Cardinals would evolve into the more successful of the two teams, winning 5 more World Series and 9 National League pennants, while the Browns won just 1 American League pennant during the same time. In 1951, a majority stake of the Browns was bought by new owner Bill Veeck, and he tried several stunts to attract more attention to his less popular team, including secretly signing 3'7" Eddie Goodell to the team for 1 at-bat during the second game of a doubleheader on August 19, 1951. He was ordered by Veeck not to take his bat off his shoulders and walked on 4 pitches. His contract was voided by the league the next day, and he remains the shortest person to ever play in a major league game. Veeck's desire to have his team take over the hearts of St. Louis fans was shattered when the Cardinals were sold to resource-rich brewing giant Anheuser-Busch in 1953. It was then that Veeck decided to sell Sportsman's Park to the Cardinals, and the Browns relocated to Baltimore to become the Orioles for the start of the 1954 season. Anheuser-Busch president August Busch Jr. renamed the ballpark Busch Stadium, although many fans still called it Sportsman's Park. It would undergo more extensive renovations and host 1 more Cardinals World Series championship in 1964, as well as All-Star games in 1940, 1948, and 1957. The NFL Cardinals would also relocate from Chicago to St. Louis in 1960 and start play at Sportsman's Park. But the teams would decide to move to a newly constructed, large modern cookie-cutter stadium in downtown St. Louis, Busch Memorial Stadium, with the last game at Sportsman's Park played on May 8, 1966. Home plate was helicoptered to the new stadium, and after over 100 years of professional baseball played on the site, Sportsman's Park would stand empty. Among other things, the old ballpark is noteworthy of being the site of Babe Ruth's 600th and Hank Aaron's first Major League home runs. In 1944, it was the last ballpark to host every game of a World Series, which featured both the Cardinals and the Browns. It also hosted 2 Major League teams at the same time for 33 years, longer than any other stadium in Major League Baseball history. After the Cardinals moved into Busch Memorial Stadium in 1966, Sportsman's Park was demolished within that year. The land was donated to the Herbert Hoover Boys Club, which is now the Boys and Girls Club of Greater St. Louis. While I was in St. Louis, I decided to visit that historic corner of Grand Avenue and Dodier Street and walk the perimeter of the old ballpark site for myself. So here at the corner of Dodier, I believe, in Spring, this would have been the home plate entrance of the stadium in this area. Third base line, left field side of the stadium. The west side of Spring Street. This is probably all original sidewalk back from when the stadium was still here. On the exterior of a football field now. We're on Spring Street. That field is where the old field for Sportsman's Park used to be located. This was still being used as an athletic field by the Boys and Girls Club. So this would be where the left field foul pole is, right here along Sullivan and Spring. On the north side of the ballpark, this whole block would have been left field going towards center field. This also was probably existing sidewalk that was here when the stadium was here. This corner is where center field located, center field entrance. Then looking towards the left field corner. Walking south toward Dodier. This would have been where the right field stands were located. The back of the right field stands. This is Grand Boulevard, just north of Dodier, roughly about where the right field corner would be. I'm panning north to the back of the right field stands towards center field at Sullivan. So it appears the old home plate was roughly just north of where this goalpost is standing, probably by about 10 yards. So there we have it. The other goal post was probably roughly right down, should have been right down the foul line toward left field. Would have had center field this way. Right field line would have went right along toward that building. I hope you enjoyed this look back at St. Louis's Sportsman's Park, and I hope to see you again for the next blast from the past.